are live. We should be live. That is the hope. That is the dream. That we are now live right here on the interwebs. We have a very special guest today, Reggie Watts. I hope you guys are excited. He's going to be coming in just a bit. In the meantime, this is live streamed. So, of course, for those of you who might be joining us for the first time, we spend the first few minutes making sure everybody gets situated. I play a bit of guitar for all of you, and I double check Twitch to always realize that it isn't working the way it should be, and then restart it. And eventually, we go live. So that's going to happen in just a bit. In the meantime, everybody get comfortable. Zico Kohler, how's it going? Russia, how's it going? Everybody, welcome. Welcome to the stream. We got the incredible Reggie Watts as our special guest. If you are watching this video after the live stream, if you look in the top comments below, you'll see a pinned comment from me that'll tell you the time code so that you can skip forward and not have to endure this. Although I will be starting off, as always, with my monologue, where I'll be talking about some stupid stuff and having a good time. And then I will, of course, also, bring up our guest in just a bit. Everybody, file in, get situated on Facebook. Sharbel Masad, how's it going? Rawad Nunu, how are you? On Facebook, on YouTube, Neil De La Cruz. I love that name, Neil De La Cruz. Sounds good, man. You should release an album just for that name. Carla Nakad on Twitch. How's it going? Good morning to you joining us from Beirut, Lebanon. Let me know where you guys are joining us from all over the world. I am making sure that Twitch opens up the resolution options. Up until now, it has not done so. So please excuse that. I'm going to just keep restarting it until it does. Mortanius is online. Kamal Haddad, good morning. Sharb al-Masad, how's it going? Everybody get ready. We are about to begin. I'm just making sure that I can get Twitch to work, and as soon as I can, I am going to grab that guitar right here and play some tunes for you, and then we're going to talk about a very interesting subject before we bring our special guest up tonight. And Twitch simply does not want to cooperate, which is absolutely heartbreaking right now. Look at that. I got a YouTube notification right now from Lyon, France, Rawad Nunu. From Phoenix, Arizona, Hassan Ismail. Fantastic, man. Hisham Hashim, hello. How's it going, my friend? I'm just restarting Twitch. That's literally what I'm doing right now, over and over again, until it gets all the resolution options. Good morning from Syria. Mona, I hope you're doing all right. Everything is good out there, and you're having a good time. Welcome to the stream. This is fantastic, man. When I say we got an international audience, I mean we got an international audience. We're going to have, from Montreal, Ziad Tabara, welcome. We're going to have Reggie Watts joining us in just a bit. I'm very excited for that, let me tell you. A very good friend of mine, and I have a bit of history with him. A very interesting story, which we'll be talking about today, of course. And a lot of cool subjects to talk about. Hello from San Antonio, Texas. Miss your streams. Thank you, Hisham Hashim. I just remembered I got to send out the notification to let people know that we're live. Can you imagine that? I totally forgot to do that. Nice, Nemr. Very well done. People depend on me. If you guys want notifications like that to go straight to your phone, be sure to add me on Twitch, on WhatsApp. There, you'll get a notification right to your phone. And, of course, you can join our Discord server. If you haven't already, the link for the invitation is on the screen right now. That's discord.gg/Nemr Comedy. And I do not know why Twitch refuses to play nice today. It's a bit disheartening, but what can we do? Let's take a look here. Who's Russia? How's it going? I believe from Dubai or Nigeria. I can't remember. Marhaba from Carla. Granada Hills. What's up, Carla Bedoyan? How you doing? Welcome to the stream, everybody. We're about to begin. Awesome job getting Reggie. Wish you all the best. Thank you, Sorry Yordi. I appreciate that. Reggie is a wonderful, wonderful guy, and he's very sweet to come and do our humble little podcast, the Very Funny Podcast today. And we're going to have a good time with him, of course, in just a bit. I'm just going to keep restarting Twitch periodically, hoping that it will eventually take off. Let me plug this guitar in right here, or basically unmute it, so that we can jam out to some tunes, if you know what I'm saying. Everybody get comfortable. We're about to start the episode in a bit. Sultan Murshad from Dubai, good morning. I like your comedy shows from California. Thank you, Najat. I appreciate that. Tariq Kaban, cousin, what's going on from San Diego? What's good from Canada, Thierry? Welcome. Reggie Watts, give me hope. Neil De La Cruz, I couldn't agree more. He gives me hope too. He's a wonderful guy. We are waiting for you in Montreal, Nemr. Put that on your list. I was heading out there before the coronavirus took care of all of that goodness, so what can we do? I also found out that my shows in Australia that were going to be in September are now no longer. They're going to be postponed till May. Doesn't that suck? With this song, by the way, with what I'm playing in the background, sounds very sad. You know, I had a bunch of shows and now no more. This is life. What can you do? I hope you guys are staying safe with everything going on, the Rona and all that stuff. Everybody get comfortable. You play guitar, Road? Of course I do. Earlier today, we had another stream called Let's Jam, where I actually play music, and the audience, you, the viewer, creates the lyrics. You help me choose little bits, and we ended up making about 6 different songs that were hilarious today. So, too bad you couldn't join. If you guys want to know about all my broadcasts in the future, everything, go ahead and add me on WhatsApp. The number's on the screen. Or join the Discord server. You know what I'm saying? I've seen Reggie live. Ryan, did you see him in Lebanon? Because he's been to Lebanon. I brought him out there. This sounds really nice right here. Fantastic. We're about to start in just a bit. Maria, how's it going? My sister's in the stream. We got a lot of good people here. Kotari Sue, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. Is Twitch behaving well, or is it only broadcasting at 1080p? Ah, finally, we got all the resolutions. Thank God. All right, now I can play some guitar and be comfortable. I was a bit nervous back there. Here we go. Good morning. What's up, James D? You guys ready to start the show? I love playing this thing. It's a great thing. Oh, that follow thing gets stuck on screen unless I open up Ecamm. One of the weird glitches. We're about to start. Special guest today, Reggie Watts. Yes. Guys ready? Let's go. Let's start the episode today. I'm very excited to join, to be welcoming Reggie Watts in just a bit. For those of you who are new to the show, who are joining us for the first time, the Very Funny Podcast starts out, your comments on the screen, me and you having a bit of a monologue and a talk, and I bring in our special guest in 20 minutes from now, or just a bit after that, at the half hour. So gather round, get comfortable. We're about to have a very, very good time. And today I want to talk about adventure with all of you. That's what my monologue is going to be about today. Liam Green Jacket, welcome to Twitch. Fantastic. I wonder if I have the right category on the Twitch title. Do I? Music and Performing Arts. Totally incorrect title, but then again, kind of correct, because if you think about it, Reggie Watts is our guest today, and music and performing arts kind of works. I'm going to change it to just chatting because that's more honest. I don't want people to think, even though I was just playing music, so you know, what can you do? But let's put it in a just chatting right there. Done. Fantastic. All right, everybody. Khalil El-Kirdi, how's it going? Welcome from Twitter. Brian Mayer, hey Nemr from Yellow Springs, Ohio. I'm the brother-in-law of the Zach Man. No. The Zach Man. Okay, if you guys don't know what that is, go to my YouTube channel. There's an amazing video over there. Remade Poop, thank you for the subscription on Twitch. That is too funny. Everybody, welcome. Of course, remember, everybody, no Arabic if you are Arab in the chat, because this is a stream for everybody. Hishamos 1967, welcome. Thank you for joining. We want to keep it in English so that everybody feels welcome here, because that's what we do. Let's go ahead and post that on my story. Well, I can't do that. Okay, so today, my friends, we are going to talk about adventure. And the reason we're going to talk about adventure is because of our guest. Reggie Watts. Now, for those of you who have watched Reggie, who have seen him live or seen him on TV or seen him in his many different offerings in life, okay? You know that watching Reggie Watts is a goddamn adventure. There's no other way to put it. Now, back in 2000 and, if I'm not mistaken, 11 or 12, I was a big fan of Reggie's. He had a song out called Fuck Shit Stack. It's a hilarious song. If you haven't heard it, go and check it out on YouTube after this episode. But if you're a fan of Reggie's, you know. And I had seen his stuff online, and I thought to myself, you know what would be great is that if I could perform with this guy. I'd love to meet him. And at the same time, for those who don't know, I started stand-up comedy in the Middle East. So that's where I was based until about 5 years ago. And I thought it would be great to do a tour, a mini tour. I'd bring him out to Beirut, where I was living at the time, and we'd hit Saudi Arabia as well. And it would be me and Reggie, and we called the show One Forehead, because I have a huge forehead, One Afro, Two Legends. That's what we called the show. And Reggie came out, man. And I brought him out. That was the first time I met him. And we traveled to Saudi Arabia, to Jeddah and Riyadh. And then we went to Beirut and did 2 shows there. And it was incredible. First of all, I got to meet Reggie. Reggie is the nicest guy, maybe in this industry, one of the nicest. Such a gentleman. Literally opens the door for a woman, lets her, a chivalrous gentleman. My sister was with us at the time. He was so kind. He was an incredible man. And you see, in the life that we live, the decisions that we make can really impact what we end up doing, right? If I hadn't decided to get into stand-up, I would have never met Reggie. I wouldn't be here with you right now doing this podcast. If it wasn't for the Rona, I wouldn't be doing this podcast. This podcast started because of the Rona. Please stay safe, everybody. Wear a mask. And then all of these things wouldn't happen. So think of the concept of adventure. When you think of adventure, ask yourself this. I know it's maybe a shitty time to talk about it during the Rona, where you can't really go out and adventure, if you live in America at least. But when you get the chance, when was the last time you went on an adventure? I grew up reading a book, a comic strip called Calvin and Hobbes. I don't know if you guys, how many of you know it? Bill Watterson writes it. And I can't recommend this enough. And it's about this young kid, 6-year-old kid called Calvin, and his pet tiger, who's a stuffed tiger, but he sees him as real, and maybe he is real, nobody knows. And they go on adventures. But the adventures all happen between his school, his house, his backyard. Do you remember when you were a kid and you had your imagination and you could go on adventures? You could go anywhere. You could teleport yourself with the simplest of stuff. I would run in my backyard, and with a bucket. The bucket would be a ship. It would be a spaceship, right? It would be a helmet in war. Like, I would have literally a bucket, and I'd find a twig. Now I got a helmet on, and I'm fighting in the garden imaginary enemies. And I'm having the time of my life. I'm sweating. I'm having a blast. I'm 6 or 7. Then as we grow older, the bar rises for what can entertain you as a human being, right? You start to need more. The bucket isn't good enough for you anymore. So now you need something else. You're going to need, I don't know, a woman maybe, if you're straight, and a guy. And if you're a lesbian. And if you're in between. And if you're gender fluid. Eunice is behind me. They and their are the pronouns. This is a progressive show. So my point is, you start to get interested in girls, right? You're 12, 11, 10 years old. Puberty starts to hit as a guy. I'm talking from a male perspective, a straight dude. You start seeing girls. I remember there was a girl. I'm not going to say her name because I don't even think she knows that I had a crush on her. But I did. I was 11 years old or 12. I can't remember. And I remember I was this girl, I look at her and I feel these feelings. You know what I'm saying? I'm feeling things right here. And let me tell you, I remember at that time, we're 12 years old, right? You don't have a sexual attraction. Do you know what I'm saying? I remember I never knew what masturbation was. When I was growing up, I didn't know what masturbation. My parents never gave me the sex talk. My parents, I have Arab parents. They're not going to sit you down and give you the sex talk. You figure that shit out for yourself is pretty much the mentality in the Middle East. Nobody sits down and explains, like only Americans do that. That's how you know America is a great place to grow up. Parents have the peace of mind to think to themselves, maybe I should explain this to my child so he doesn't think banging a belly button is how you get babies. But in the Middle East, they're like, we got to survive right now. So you figure out sex for yourself. We're going to go shield you from mortar fire and stuff. So it's a different existence. So they never explained that to me. So, and let me remind you, I'm a hairy dude. I was getting like a beard when I was 12. You know what I'm saying? I had puberty hard, like Arab style. It was crazy. I had a beard at like 12. I started getting facial hair, armpit hair, chest hair. I started plotting terrorist attacks. I'm just kidding. So stupid. Okay. So here's the thing. I start to get these feelings, right? And I got it. This is the story about how I found out what masturbation was. I was on the school bus, and once again, only Arab problems. If you're in America, you're on a school bus, there is a capacity. Once the capacity is reached, no more people are allowed on the school bus. They have another school bus. You get what I'm saying? Not in the Middle East, baby. In the Middle East, we were shoved into these school buses like there's no tomorrow. It was me. School bus fit 19 people. We were about 36 kids. I'm not exaggerating, maybe even more, right? Laying on top of each other, standing up. I would stand in a bus that was driving around the roads of Lebanon, which are not the greatest roads in the world, okay? This is not San Diego. This is some serious stuff, okay? There's potholes, there's surprises, you know what I'm saying? There's checkpoints with military on them. There's obstacles, challenges, hurdles to overcome. And I'm standing on this moving vehicle, which has terrible suspension. Steering wheel is shot. The guy is driving it with the will of God and his faith in Jesus more than the actual steering wheel. Jesus take the wheel is for real, where I was. I'm standing in the bus, and there's a guy called Louis Nemr. That's his name. I'll never forget it. He lives in Australia now. I haven't talked to him in decades, in years. And he points at my, down there. And he's like, you got a boner. And he starts laughing. Of course, he's a Lebanese Australian, so that means his nose was blocked. I've said this many times on the show. I don't know why Lebanese Australians, all of their noses are blocked. So he's like, you got a boner. Okay, anyways. So I had no idea what the fuck a boner was. I've never heard that thing. I was standing on the bus, and I was hard, baby. I was hard. I guess because, the bus is shaking and bumping and whatever. I didn't feel anything. I wasn't horny. It was there. I was at full salute. So I look at him like, the fuck, what's a boner? This is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. Like, what are you talking about? So he's like, a boner, it's when your thing does this and whatever. And I'm just looking at him. I have no idea what he's talking about. You don't know what that is? I'm like, no. And Louis Nemr sits down and explains to me masturbation. But look how he does it. He goes, Nemr, you gotta keep rubbing, and then something magical happens. That's what he said. I was like, shut up. Few days passed. One day I'm at home, and I was like, I was in that similar position, anatomically, at the time. Erect, as they say. I was like, I go into the bathroom, I lock the door. I'm like, what happens? There is a terror associated with ejaculation if you don't know that that's what's going to happen. Just imagine for a moment that you have no idea. Somebody just says, do this action, and something happens, and you don't know what that something is. And suddenly, this foreign substance emerges. I was fucking horrified. I was like, what's happening? Ah! Like, I lost my mind. Shit was scary as hell. And I remember I thought maybe I got AIDS. I'm serious. Like, I started freaking out. And that's how I basically found out that. And then sex was a whole other thing that I found out by accident off of an MS-DOS porn loop that was basically a GIF. But that's a different story for a different day. I'm just letting you guys know that shit was terrifying. Now, before that happened, why did I tell you this? Because I'm about to speak about me as an 11-year-old kid, and I don't want this to end up being some sexual, perverted child pornography thing. So I'm establishing clearly that when I was 12 or 13, that's when I realized that you could get pleasure from sex. I thought, you kiss, and then saliva exchanges, and boom, baby. That's what I thought. Obviously, that's not the case. So at around 11, I have a crush on this girl, and I remember she was wearing shorts, and her shorts from the back were just a bit lifted. This isn't sexual, you understand? This isn't sexual. And I remember looking at her ass, and I was like, I like that. I don't know what it is. There's something there. I like that. Ever since then, I'm letting you know, basically, I'm an ass guy, okay? And I found it out back then. I just didn't comprehend it in a sexual form. Anyways, all I'm saying is it was buckets when you're a kid and sticks, then women with asses at around 11 and beyond. And then you start to get, the bar starts to raise higher. Now your parents teach you an activity like skiing or something. Now you want to go fucking skiing. I don't ski. I'm coming up with shit that they did on field trips when we were 13. Now you want to go skiing. You want to go do something else. The bar continues to rise, right? You get to your 20s. Now you want to get wasted. You want to go party with your friends. You want to go do this, that, or the other. You go on, somebody has a fucking yacht for some reason. I never understood people who have and they throw a party and you go there and now you're into that scene. If you're a girl, you want to be in that scene, so you open an OnlyFans account in modern day. There's ways, right? The bar continues to raise. The bucket and the stick is a distant memory. But here's what I love about adventure. The emotion tied to it never leaves you. So when you get older, I'm 36 now. The other day I saw a bucket just like the bucket I used to play with as a kid, and I felt all of these emotions I hadn't felt in ages. And most adults would have walked away, but I put that fucking bucket, I bought it. I was in Home Depot. And I bought the bucket, I went home, I fucking wore it, and I felt good. And that's what's beautiful about adventure. It doesn't have to be something that you need to pay money to do. It doesn't have to be something that you go out to seek. It's all based on choices that you make. I chose to wear that bucket. I got the gratification and the nostalgia from it. And now I might combine wearing a bucket with something else that I might do. My point is, if you want to go on an adventure, I think the most important thing that you got to do is make the right life choices. If you're stuck in a 9-to-5 job that you despise, I mean, if you got a family, you got to provide for them. I can understand that. And man, I respect that. But if you have the privilege and the luxury of not having that responsibility, you owe it to yourself to throw yourself out there and do what makes you uncomfortable so that you can be comfortable again. You got to find the things you love. The guest we're bringing today, Reggie Watts, is a guy who goes out on stage and does what other people find unimaginable. First, standing in front of an audience. A lot of people tell me, Nemr, how can you stand in front of an audience and not get terrified? This guy doesn't just stand in front of an audience. He stands in front of an audience and starts performing, often in gibberish, different languages. A lot of times, audiences will get confused as to what the fuck is even going on. To be able to have that level of comfort with yourself means you have a dedication to adventure that is unlike any other. And if you can master that level, you will find that your life becomes a lot more simple because you can take pleasure in things just by being yourself. Isn't it weird that sometimes being yourself is the hardest thing that you can do? To be able to just be you, unapologetically you, stupid, dumb, you. Try to think back to when you started to enter cool into your decisions. That's pretty much where it started to go wrong. When you were like, no, it's not cool to do that anymore. So you shifted your behavior. I never did that. I used to be a kid. Now I'm a kid with a budget. I still play video games. I still get excited at movies. I still watch the Sonic the Hedgehog movie. I was jumping out of my seat. I'm happier as a result. I was never cool. I was just really big. I'm 6'5" now. I was a huge kid. So nobody used to beat me up or bully me. because I could crush them. And I ended up being cool with myself. And all the cool kids looked really sad. I remember looking at the cool kids on the playground just brooding, just hanging out, sitting in each other's laps. That used to be the cool thing to do if you're a guy and a girl, to show that you're so cool that you can sit in somebody else's lap without there being anything. And I used to walk by them and I'd be like, why are these guys? It's recess. And we're running around, we're playing, we're throwing hats. I'm 15, 16, we're playing basketball, we're running around, we're laughing. I'm doing impressions, my friends are having a good time. We got a video game, look at the Game Boy, check this thing out. Oh my God, it's amazing. And then you look to the corner and the cool kids are just sitting there, brooding. They're just hanging out. They're just like sitting and existing. And that makes them cool. I never understood cool in my life. It is the funniest, most depressing thing I've seen in my life. To see somebody just hanging out there, just existing, just like, yeah, bro, like listening to music. Like, I listen to music, and if I hear something I love, I used to call my friends, and we put an earphone in each ear and listen to that shit. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, you want to share that experience. Anytime you start to lock it in, there's two reasons. Either you're afraid to because people have bullied you, and that's a whole different story, or because you're trying to exude an importance that's fake. See, the fashion industry is a beautiful industry because it has a lot of artistry in it. But a lot of 95% of the people buying the fashion aren't doing it because they want to artistically express themselves. They're doing it for the same reason people go to a nightclub and pop bottles, so that they can buy a personality. I can walk into a room, and a lot of people I know can walk into a room and immediately command all the attention in the room. Right? And the reason that they can is because their personality just explodes from within. But people who don't have that, instead of working on themselves, they end up buying it. They go to a club, they want attention. They can't get attention because they haven't achieved anything significant in their lives. So they pop bottles. They throw money. They tell the DJ to do something. They throw a wad of cash at them. The DJ shouts them out. Now they're important. To whom? To nobodies. But they're important. Right? A lot of people who buy fashion and wear it so that they can walk amongst you, and you look at them, you're like, what the fuck are they wearing? And they say, I don't care. I'm comfortable with myself. They're putting on a show so that they can get some attention to feel significant. The bar never came back down for them. It just kept going up, and then they lost sight of what happiness and adventure is. Don't let that happen to you. Put a bucket on your head and have a damn good time. It's easy. It's simple. Surround yourself with people that you love, with energy that you can tap into, and have fun, man. Just go to the beach and jump in the water. Me and my friends in my early 20s used to play a game called Whip the Diver. We'd go to a pool at 3 a.m. It'd be 1 a.m. I'd call my friend George up. I'd call my friend Rabia up. I'd call my friend Nadim up. What are you guys doing? My sister Maria, what are you doing? Nothing. Do you guys want to play Whip the Diver? We're on our way. We'd all go to this place where there was a pool, and then we would play this game. It's 2 a.m., 3 a.m., just the lights of the pool. And we would, and by the way, in Lebanon, there's pools, not because we're privileged, but because the ocean, the beach, the sea is completely contaminated with pollutants, so you can't swim in it. So we would wrap a towel in a knot at the end of it, and then dunk it in the water and leave it there so it would suck in all of the water and become super heavy. And then one of us would dive, and everybody else would stand on the corner of the pool just whipping the towel above their heads. And then when that person would dive, we would try to throw it and whip the diver. And if you could strike the person diving with the towel flying, it was so heavy that when it would hit them, their entire momentum would shift. So they'd be jumping like this, and they would just like fly. It was the funniest shit in the world, man. And then we'd go to a place that was open all night called Le Cremier and have ice cream and an ice cream milkshake. And those are some of the best memories of my life. My best New Year's Eve celebration was when I was at my best friend George's house, Mortanius. He's in the comments. And we each had a KFC bucket, and we played all the Mega Man games until 10 in the morning. Best New Year's Eve ever. I laughed so hard. So goddamn hard. Funniest time of my life. Some of my best memories happened with no money, no budget, nothing. Just good people and a willingness to be you instead of being cool. You get what I'm saying? And guess what? It's pretty damn cool to be you. So think about that the next time you question yourself. If you're in a setting where you're doing something and people judge you, but it's making you happy, maybe the problem is the people and not you. Maybe the problem is the people. Maybe they should feel bad that they're not like you. Because trust me, they should. This applies to everything except like rape and molestation, pedophilia. I just want to make that very clear here. You know what I'm saying? So in case you're in a crowd and you like harass a woman, I mean, you should be judged that you're not cool. No, people shouldn't be like you. You should go and kill yourself. I'm just saying, you know, just work with me here. I don't want to have to get ultra specific, people. Okay? Yaz in the comments, I tell my kids to go out and be free. Find magic, live it up. Now, Yaz is a cheap parent. And they're justifying right now, based on what I'm saying, I'm telling my kids, Mom, Dad, can we get a PlayStation? No, go out. Fine, no, I'm just kidding. That sounds like all Arab parents. When I was your age, I used to go and I would dodge the missiles and the bombs, and I have great time. I do not need this Nintendo PlayStation, I don't know what. It was fantastic. We would have the bon juice. It is a triangle juice. We would drink it and put it on the floor and then step on it. It make explosion. Funniest time of our lives. That's a real thing, by the way. We used to slap, the wind would compress and go pah, like that. It was a lot of fun. Do you remember those little firecracker things that would come in a thing and you drop it on the floor and go pah? No lights, just sound. Just sound, and that was enough to get us excited. Like, we giggle like 5-year-old schoolgirls, start running around and shit. Once I wanted to light fireworks with my cousin Diana in an area called Mansouriya, and my sister and me and Diana were there. And my parents gave us a huge bag of these like incredibly cheap fireworks. And there was no electricity. It was Lebanon in the 90s. And I had a candle, and we were going to light each firework with a candle and put it. So we're lighting one firework at a time. I'm talking a huge bag of fireworks. So I light it, and I put the candle to the side. And and this thing goes off, and then I hear in the background, shh, and I turn around, and I had actually put the candle right next to the bag and lit like 4 fireworks in the bag. And I saw it, and I turned. My sister and my cousin were next to me, and I was like, get down. And I just jumped and grabbed them both, and we slammed onto the ground, and the explosion that happened, just like the whole bag went off. Never laughed so hard. Funniest shit ever. I used to prank call people when I was a kid. It ended up making me famous, but I used to do it as a kid and record them on cassette tape from speaker. Just to be able to have fun, man, and I still have fun because I haven't lost my sense of adventure. Maria, exactly. Independence Day. That shit was horrifying. So all I'm saying, man, is the only thing stopping you from having a good time really is you. And I don't think people say that enough. You don't need money. You don't need stuff. Money helps bring you peace of mind so you can enjoy yourself more. And that is the truth. That is the goddamn truth. But you don't need money to have a good time. If you need money because you want to be able to do expensive things, to be able to have a good time, because to you having a good time means people who do expensive things liking you, then you're not having a good time. You're selling yourself out and your potential out and the adventures you may have out simply so you can satisfy other people. Connect with yourself and you do you, boo. You do you. And stay hydrated. Water. I love you too, Carla. Alman's Lebanon. Lens Flare Smith. I hope you guys are having a good time with us. It is 7:30. It is time to bring our special guest. When we're talking about adventure, we're talking about having a good time. I mean, this guy is where it's at. The one, the only Reggie Watts. Let me bring him up on Skype and take off the Discord and the WhatsApp notification. And let's give him a video call. Let's see right here. Let's see if this is going to work. We were having some trouble connecting. So you're the only person on the call. Yes, that's true, because we're calling him. This might not work. I may need to do another type of call. So in case it doesn't work, just bear with me. Okay. Whoop, there it is. No answer. Reggie Watts. Let me go ahead and hit him with a video call instead. There we go. We may need to do this the old school way, where I actually call him on a phone and tell him to hit up his Skype. This is so funny. Start call. We're gonna try one more time, and if it doesn't work, we're gonna hit him up with it. I'm just gonna give him a call. Let's see. I'm calling him on the phone. Okay, we got through. This is all live, baby.
Hello.
I'm trying to call you on Skype, but it doesn't seem to be going through. So I thought I'd call you and let you know.
Oh, weird. Hold on.
So I'm in that meeting room you created.
Hold on. Joining call. Okay, I thought it would like call. Hold on. Join call.
Okay.
There we go.
Sorry, man.
No worries.
I was expecting you to call, and I was watching this Cyberpunk 2077 gameplay footage, so I apologize.
Wait, did they drop new? First of all, brother, look at me. I'm jumping in, talking to you like you're not now live with us. Welcome to the podcast, my friend. Thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
Hey, good, man. Sorry for the hold up.
Nothing at all. No problem at all, man. Jesus, where do I begin? You just said one of the coolest things for me, that you were watching a Cyberpunk 2077 gameplay reveal video. So before I jump into your incredibleness, you are into Cyberpunk 2077?
Oh yeah, maximum. Yeah, it's ever since the 80s when Cyberpunk was a thing in the 80s. The game. Yeah, I was like super excited.
And how do you feel about the new one? I am so fucking psyched.
Man, yeah, of course, I'm really excited. I mean, the gameplay footage was amazing. I mean, when they first unveiled that, what it was like a long time ago. I don't know, like 8, 9, 10 months maybe. And then now they've been letting people play a little bit of the game, and they've released footage from one playthrough. No one was allowed to record their gaming experiences, but they could review it obviously and have access to that run through. And so you hear a lot of people talking about the game, but you're not seeing what they were actually doing. But it's pretty fascinating, and it looks incredible.
What is your favorite video game of all time? Because if you're into Cyberpunk 2077, I know you play video games.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, I'm very specific in what I play, but I mean, Halo is one of the funnest to play. It's got a really cool world. Mm-hmm. Borderlands, I really enjoy a lot.
Okay.
The new one has got me stuck I'm on a boss level right now, and it's so frustrating. So I've kind of taken a break for a while, but and then I've been playing a lot of the Division 2.
Oh wow. Okay, so you love multiplayer stuff.
Yeah, yes, I like that. I definitely I like co-op a lot, and so Division 2 gives you a ton of co-op.
Mm-hmm.
You can join any crew, go on any mission, call for backup, a join person that's asking for backup, and I really like it. It's a fun game.
Have you ever done any voice chat and people playing with you just realize that they're playing with Reggie Watts? Has that ever happened? And
I don't think that has. It's really weird, but it hasn't.
Are you serious?
Yeah. It's weird too, because I don't really have my headset on with the microphone and everything that often. I'm oftentimes just kind of silent, but when I have, no one's ever asked at all. It's awesome.
Well, you do a lot of voices, so probably, the real Reggie has been morphed into, maybe everybody has their own version of it. I have no idea.
Gosh, I don't know, man. I mean, it's a mystery to me, because it's it's just the luck of the draw, I guess. And it's funny. What's really fun about it, I guess, is just having this conversation, and people don't know what color I am. They don't know anything. So I've had some guys start to talk about say some borderline
racist shit,
racially insensitive, I should say. But then I kind of steer them
in the right direction.
Maybe that person is also doing this, because I've known a dude that was this, and he did the same thing, So It's kind of funny.
Okay, so there's going to be a lot to cover right now, and I'm going to kind of we're going to loop all over the place. Since you like video games, it makes me very comfortable to talk to you as a fellow gamer, which means we can dive easily into many topics. There's one thing you did recently. I'm going to start off with that, and you released an app. Now, I'm from the Middle East. You know that. You've been to the Middle East with me. We had an amazing time in Beirut.
It was an amazing time.
Really, the best, honestly. And my sister sends all her love. We miss you terribly.
Oh, that's great.
No, for real, man. You are the best. And so in the Middle East, we all use, and I think all ethnic countries, non-American, let's put it that way, countries use WhatsApp, which is an application that maybe some of our viewers might not know is a messaging application. In the U.S., it's not as prevalent because everybody uses their iPhones and whatever. But in all over the world, people use WhatsApp. You created an application, which is the most brilliant thing, called Watts, as in your last name, WATTS, WhatsApp, which, first of all, is fucking brilliant. Like, I just have to tell you, slow applause. So when I found out about this, I downloaded the application, and I'm begging everybody, if you have an iPhone, download it. If you have an Android, you told me that's coming out July 1st-ish or later?
No, it'll be like, I think September. September, because July 1st is when he starts work on the Android version. Okay.
So I download the application. I have no idea what to expect. It's Reggie Watts, obviously, so I know it's going to be a trip. I start watching the application, and the first episode is where you take, some music to outer space. I don't want to spoil it for everybody. They should watch it.
It's fine. Yeah.
But I have to talk about the other thing because, as comedians, we kind of become, you don't laugh as much. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're surrounded by so much humor that you're like, that was really smart. But you don't really. I cackled like out loud. You have a segment called, not droid. What's it called? The
drone versation.
Drone versation. Yes. And this is the most genius concept in the world. You have a conversation with somebody, Fred Armiston, Jack White, and huge celebrities. And it's filmed with drones at 8K, so the highest video quality, and it's a 6 or 7 minute conversation, but you have the audio of the drone mixed into the audio, so you can't hear shit.
Yeah, that's it.
The entire conversation. You're like, this is drone versation. And then it's a and faintly in the background, you're like, so I'm going to bring him back. And I was like, there's no way for the entire 7-8 minutes, this guy is going to keep the drones, and you do it. And for 4 episodes.
Yeah.
I just want to say thank you.
That's awesome. I'm so glad you dig it. I mean, God. That's great. It means a lot. Yeah, it was a dream come true to be able to make that.
Did anybody try to stop you? Was there any executive somewhere or somebody who was like, you can't do that, this doesn't make sense? Was there any pushback to this brilliant idea at all, or did they let you just go with it?
I mean, I just did it myself. I paid for it myself, so I didn't have to ask shit.
Wait, what? You paid for it? So you literally were that invested in it?
Yeah, it just because I don't care if anybody wants to do it or not. Like, I mean, it wasn't that expensive, on a video production level. And it, So
but some people would argue that no matter what you paid, that was too much money to literally not have a conversation.
Of course they would, But it's like it's something I had to make. I had to make it for myself. So that was the important thing. But the good thing is, everybody got it. When I told Fred about it, Fred was like, he was like, yeah, I'll do it. I was like, oh, great. And when I told Jack about it, he's kind of a hard guy to find. I mean, we know each other for years, but in in these weird, extraordinary small ways. But it just lined up. It was crazy. I was like, wow, okay, great. And Leslie Feist, I mean, I'm a huge fan of hers, and she was down to be the very first one, and it was great. And we got one coming out soon. with Thundercat. So that's going to be pretty sick. And so the cool thing is about it is that I get to release it on WhatsApp, right?
Yeah.
So WhatsApp is kind of like my channel in a way, like my own multimedia channel. And so the idea is that, I'll make stuff, if I can get people to pay for something and, it works, but I also kind of like just paying for it myself and just owning it, and I can do whatever I want and I don't have to ask anybody anything, which is super great. And if it works out, I got a proof of concept first. So I got to make my own shit and populate it and, run some experiments on there and then see where it goes, But the store is the thing everyone digs.
No, it's the best. Everything on the app is fantastic. Even the interludes you have in between where you talk about, you talk about, let's just put it that way.
Yes, I know. I talk about.
You talk about.
Yes, I do talk about. There's a few talk abouts in there. Yeah, it's like I have so much stuff that I've made over time, and it's good to kind of aggregate it and kind of update the app with like old stuff or like new stuff. A mixed bag, but for right now, it's just kind of like this curated list that just keeps changing.
Incredible. You've always been experimenting. Your whole career is you just being creative. No matter what I've seen, at least, and what the world has seen from you, you never really know what the fuck's coming next. End of story. And I don't know if you know even. And I wanted to ask you that. It's always been something I've wondered. Did you always start out saying, I want to be somebody who just loses himself in the moment and doesn't have any set kind of structure? Or was it something that happened over time? How did you become who you are? Arguably the most unique performing artist in the world.
Well, thanks, man. I'll send you a check tomorrow.
No, I'm serious. Dude, I'm serious. No. Your TED Talk has over 9.5 million views. I don't know anybody who could, like, if I were to take that TED Talk and want to transcribe it and perform it, I can't. Nobody can. That's when I say unique, like, I mean it. Like, I can invent something, I can create something and talk about it, but what you did there and the fact that you were able to connect with a crowd like that and just it was incredible, man.
Oh, thanks, man. Thanks. Well, I mean, yeah, I was lucky to get to do it, and I was glad. I mean, there were a lot of great factors that led to that. But I mean, I don't know. I ever since I was a kid, I kind of followed my instincts and did things that I wanted to do, whether that got me into trouble sometimes, or I was stubborn about making, like, if I wanted to do something, I tried to figure out a way to do it no matter what, but that kind of attitude, especially in high school when I joined drama and I started doing competitive drama, it just felt really fun to just be a weirdo goofball in front of people and have people's attention, and then perform a bunch of stupid shit. It's like real dumb stuff. I think I love dumb stuff. It's like, and it's like in the comedy community, we always say dumb and stupid, and people are like, no, it was really great. It's like, no. In comedy terms, that's the highest compliment you can. It's one of the highest compliments. Is like really dumb, stupid, unnecessary, maddening, whatever. Like those are all things where you're like, okay, you're doing great. Keep doing that. But yeah, since I was a kid, so I as far back as I remember, I always figured out a way to do what I like to do. So I don't really. It feels like I've just been doing this type of thing for all of my life.
When did the music? When did the music come in? Like, when did the singing and the beat making and the looping? When did that start?
Well, that part. Well, I mean, since I was a kid, I would imitate singers on the radio. When I was a little kid, like 4 or 5 years old or whatever, and then I started taking piano lessons towards the end of my. Yeah, I think it was 5 when we started, so I took classical piano lessons when I was 5 till about age 16, and then violin for 8 years in the school system. Played in the school orchestra. And then did a little bit of singing here and there in choirs, nothing too major. And then started, then I had my first band in high school, and I got a synthesizer. My mom bought me a rad synthesizer. And so I became a bass player on the keyboard. and was a singer in a band called Autumn Asylum.
What genre of music?
Kind of Cure inspired, mixed with the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Interesting. Okay.
Kind of.
Okay.
I mean, we kind of bit some stuff, but the one song we did make, it was really beautiful because this is a quick aside, but like the one song that we made that I loved was called She Stands. And it was we were at my friend's house. This is just these ingredients are weird. I was at my friend's house. His family are own a cemetery.
Okay.
So, and they live on the premises of the cemetery. There's a house on the edge of the cemetery. And so he was having a party at their house. And so we're at their house, and they're cemetery people. And so there's all these kids at the house, and we're doing, everyone's doing like crazy stuff, drinking. And all our friends were kind of like punk rockers, like new wave or punk rockers. This would have been in the 80s. And like 87, 88. Mm-hmm. And I remember going to the car. We took acid, went to my friend's 68 Cutlass. We're in there. My guitar player at the time, Doug Smith, had his guitar, started strumming the guitar. I was in the driver's side, and we were looking at the window, and there was a pole with a light on top of it, and my friend, this is just so crazy. This is tripping me out just remembering it. But so I'm in the car with him. It's also raining, and my friend Melanie is underneath, really light, underneath this light on the pole, and she's just dancing, and we're like tripping on acid. He's playing guitar. I'm just riffing, and we wrote this song called She Stands, and I wrote the lyrics for it. And it was just crazy that we had that happened. Then we wrote the song, or I finished the song, we practiced it, and then we put it on our demo. And it's the only real original song that we have. The other ones borrow heavily from some other groups.
Seriously?
But anyways.
That's a beautiful story, man. Are you still in touch with those friends?
Yeah, Melanie. Yeah, I still know Mel. Doug Smith, I see him every time I come he lives in Missoula, with his wonderful wife.
Do you still have that EP by any chance? Like, do you have that anywhere?
I think someone has it. I'm trying to remember who has it. I think my friend Wally in town. You should
release at least that song.
Yeah, it's so twee. It's like it's very delicate, and but yeah, I'd release it. Why not?
Wait a sec. What was the word you used? It's so twee?
It's twee. It's like
I've never heard that word before. What does that mean?
Well, it's a description, but it's also technically a genre of music, but I use it more as a feeling word. Like it's twee in that that it's small and delicate. Okay. And fragile, a little bit fragile sounding.
I'm begging you, if you ever find that, please send it to me. I'm so curious to hear what...
Yeah, me too.
When was the last time you heard it?
Oh man, it would have been so long ago, maybe 15 years ago or something like that. Yeah, maybe. Wow. And it would have been like visiting a friend who still had it, but I want to get it digitized. So I think there weren't a lot of demos, but I know a few friends of mine have it. So
please get it.
Okay.
And share it with the world.
I will for you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yes.
Thank you. Of course. But that's it. That's how I got into. That's how music is kind of like from age 5 to high school, and then when I got to Seattle, I played in gazillions and gazillions of bands of all kinds of styles. So I've always been doing music and comedy to a certain extent as well, but probably music more. But at this point, comedy and music pretty equally.
I wanted to ask you, would you consider it's kind of hard to classify. If I were to say either musician or comedian, I think it would be doing a disservice to you. How would you describe yourself?
You could say musician. No, I think I just call myself a comedic improviser. You know, I mean, in general, I definitely do serious stuff. I'll do
Yeah.
serious music, you know, things of that nature, of course. But in general, I would say I'm an improviser, but I tend to skew towards the absurdist comedic,
Yeah.
for sure.
Definitely. You've done so many incredible things and performed with so many incredible people and had so many experiences, whether it was people that are famous or just the story you told us right now. Is it easy for you to pick out from all of this stuff that you've experienced thus far, like a highlight of yours, something that really resonated with you, a moment? Is that something possible?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, gosh, well, man, I mean, you know, there's so many, it's crazy, but I would say, you know, I think the first time I played Pop Tech, this kind of technology, similar to TED,
Okay.
but it only happens once a year in one location for like a weekend,
Okay.
for 4 days. And so I did that, I think 2 or 3 times. It was an absolute blast. So cool. And it takes place in the same town hall in Camden, Maine.
Oh.
And I performed there. I think I performed twice at Pop Tech. But I performed there one year, and Brian Eno was there with Will Wright, because he was previewing or talking about Spore, the generative based video game. And so Eno did the atmospherics and the sound design for it, and the music. So he was there, and I remember doing the performance and then having him come up at one point, and he just was so curious, and we just started talking about stuff, and then we ended up like kind of hanging out a little bit, like, you know, like sharing a car together to a dinner for the artists or the speakers, and then like being at this big dinner, and I was sat next to him, and then on the other side of me was Ilaria Bulgari, and
wow,
her friend. It is just crazy. I mean, crazy. And then I think on that trip too, I rode on the bow of the deck of the Plastiki, which was the boat, the huge like high tech boat made of recycled bottles.
Oh,
that David de Rothschild sailed, and he was there.
Oh wow!
And
wow!
And, in the morning, like the speakers, they got to go on this special boat ride where he took them around the cove. And
this happens in Maine.
This was in Maine. Although it wasn't. I'm sorry, it wasn't the Plastiki. It was just a really nice 100-foot sailboat.
Okay.
And with a small crew. And so we were invited to be on this, and they just took a tour of the cove. But he was there talking about the Plastiki and like talking about what it took to build it and their adventures and what it was like and all that stuff. And I remember all the sailors being barefoot, but it was cold out. And then I took off my shoes and socks, and I was like, oh, I'm not cold at all. And they can feel the deck much more readily. I was like, oh, that's an interesting sailor trick. They're barefoot, so they can feel the deck. And I just never would have thought of something like that. But anyways, that was amazing. I mean, that was amazing. And then a short list would be being on stage with the LCD Sound System for their last show, quote unquote, at the time, last show. Yeah. Madison Square Garden.
Oh wow. Yeah, that must have been a memory.
I mean, come on. I mean, that was legendary. Or being on stage, on John Lennon's birthday and singing with a band called Soul Live and singing "Come Together." I know it was written by Paul, but I just said, I remember the band was playing solo for a while, or without me for a while. I came out and we were doing "Come Together," and when I got up to the mic, this was Madison Square Garden opening for Dave Matthews, which was like the third time I was opening for Dave Matthews in different bands. So weird. But I went up to the microphone and I just said, "This is for you, John." And then we started the song, and the wave of cheer from the audience was just, it was whew, it was so heavy. It was just like this, like a tsunami. Just it was incredible. Yeah, being in front of large crowds and saying something that you feel sincerely is just the biggest rush you could ever have.
What a beautiful answer, man. Thank you for sharing that with us, Reggie. I wonder, why have you, or maybe you haven't, I am unaware. Have you ever voiced any characters in any video games?
Yeah, it's funny. No, I don't think I. Well, technically, I did stuff for Justin Roiland and his video game, his VR video game, Trover. I think it's Trover Saves the Universe.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's it. I did a bunch of voices. He told me I got cut, but I heard that they tried to add it somewhere else, so there might be some stuff there. But that's.
I imagine you would make some of the in Borderlands. You said you love Borderlands. I mean, you could think of 6 characters at least that you would be perfect to voice.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, I would love it. Yeah, of course. I mean, voicing for video games would be a dream come true, especially like. Yeah, a great team put together and an amazing game coming out. Yeah, of course, I would die. It'd be great. I don't know why it hasn't happened. It's weird. It's weird. I just started doing more animated stuff in the last like 3 years, which has been really great. And I've done a sparse sprinkling here and there, but now I'm getting more substantial roles in animated shows, and that's pretty exciting and very incremental. But I love it that way. It's great.
No, it's amazing. I'm not surprised. I hope you get the video game role that of your dreams coming soon. Maybe in The Division or something. You can be.
Oh yeah, I'd love that.
That would be so cool. Sometimes I think to myself, like if I'm playing a video game and I heard my voice in the video game, I think I would freak the fuck. I would just go nuts. I would lose it.
It's weird because you're like, you associate. I mean, I associate a video game with such a complex thing to pull off to even get it to actually. So yeah, of course it's going to trip you out. I mean, it would trip you out. I think it'd trip me out more than seeing me in a movie, like on a big screen.
I couldn't agree with you more. Video games. By the way, I am so into video games just as much as you, maybe even more. Who knows? But I totally get you. If I were to see myself on a big screen, I would be like, oh, that's like wow, like it would be amazing. Yeah. But in a video game, like to be able to make it through that process, I get exactly what you're saying. There's so many moving parts, so many different elements. And of course, you would hope that it's an amazing video, not just some really shitty video game.
I know, totally. It's like the worst video, like this, they shouldn't have even tried, IGN. It's just like, oh, fuck, they shouldn't have even tried.
You don't want to be mentioned in the review. Like the game was great, but Reggie and Nemr's voice acting just really brought it down. Believability.
Yeah, not sure why they should have just picked anybody else.
I know they wanted comedians, but really, there were so many options.
I know
that would crush me. Have you played a game called Senua's Sacrifice?
No, what is that?
Okay, so I never thought in a billion years I would spend my time on a podcast bringing up a video game to anybody, especially somebody who's played video games. But I think because of who you are and how much of an appreciation you have for the audio spectrum, that you must play this game. It's called Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. I just wrapped it up a couple of weeks ago. It affected me on a very visceral level. They use, I'm sure you know what this is, binaural audio.
Yeah.
So they use binaural audio. There's a YouTube video by a guy called Sid Course. He says it's Sid Course, like discourse, but my name is Sid. That's what he says. And I discovered this guy because of Senua. This guy has psychosis. And Senua is about a character. It's based in Viking lore and Norse mythology, basically. And she goes into Helheim to get the soul of her love back. It's a love story, but it's incredibly dark. And they use binaural audio their objective was for the player to feel what it is like to live with psychosis. So there's no HUD, there's no energy bar, there's no lock-on cursor. The voices that are constantly in your head, you have to play it with headphones. They literally put a prompt. The voices that are in your head will tell you, they'll be like behind you, and you hear it exactly. You'll whip around, the enemy will be exactly there. So and the voices don't stop talking, even during cutscenes, and it'll drive you a bit mad, and that's the point. They're trying to get you feel, and there were so many things after I played the game, I watched that video, and I'm now replaying it on my own because I had no idea that there were certain game mechanics that were actually done because of psychosis. Like they were like, we're going to have this as a mechanic. There's pattern matching, which apparently is a symptom of psychosis. There's all of these things. It is an unbelievable experience. I can't recommend it enough. It's a single-player narrative-based game. Graphically will blow you away to the nth degree, but the audio and the music and the storytelling and the acting, and this is the final pitch that I'm going to make for this game for you. The girl who acted as Senua, that I think deserves a goddamn Oscar for her acting, isn't an actress. She was the editor, and they did it on a limited budget, so they kept asking her to stand in so they could tweak settings. And she would just act stuff out. And they ended up saying, would you like to be the main character? Because you're doing such an incredible job. And she said she's so terrified of acting. She's such an introvert. She used that terror to bring it into the character. And I'm telling you, I've never experienced something like this, that visceral. I can't recommend it enough. Like, really, I think it will really, really be up your alley.
Yeah, I remember vaguely hearing something about it, like a review or someone saying like, "Thank you, this helped me to understand my brother's fight with
psychosis,
yeah, and schizophrenia, and so I heard about that, and so yeah, I really need to experience that because it's funny, I'm afraid. I don't like. The types of games that I like are very kind of specific. I'm sure all gamers have specific games, but I would say gamers are like, I'll play everything. Yeah. Like if you're a real gamer, you'll play.
No,
everything.
I'm with you. Gamers have to be particular. I'm with you on that.
Yeah, it's like I think I just grew up liking a certain kind of video game, but I definitely would, I played video games in the 80s. I didn't have a game system when I first moved out of the house in 1990 when Super NES came out. Everybody was playing it, and I saw the controllers as too complicated because I was such a joystick one button dude, right? Or a Pong paddle, or a few multi-mapped buttons.
Yeah, like a Nintendo, A, B, and up, down, left, right, and that's it.
Yeah, exactly. Super, super basic. And then I saw this controller. I was like, he's holding it with both hands, and there's like these joysticks and these buttons, shoulder buttons. I was like, nah, I'm not into that. So but I watched people play video games. I loved watching my friends like just getting super baked and watch them play Super Mario Brothers and Mario Kart. And so then Dreamcast came along, and I was like, you know what, fuck this, I'm getting a Dreamcast. So I got a Dreamcast, and then I played 2 games that I really, really loved on that system. One was Resident Evil, which I'm not sure which one it was.
I think on the Dreamcast. Actually, I don't know. It's definitely not. It shouldn't be Resident Evil 4. As you tell the story, I'm gonna Google this. Hold on.
Oh yeah, please do. So I played that game, and it just scared the fucking shit out of me.
Yeah.
Like
it's Resident Evil 3, Nemesis.
Nemesis. Yes.
Resident Evil 3, Nemesis.
Heavy. It was such a heavy game, man. I mean, that game, it was crazy. And so, because of that game, I never wanted to play a game like that ever again. I don't want to be terrified when I'm playing a game.
Yeah. So you didn't play the Resident Evil 2 remake, I take it.
No, I didn't.
Fucking terrifying, dude. That game was amazing. If you feel like being horrified again.
Yeah, and it's not, and I'm not saying it to be like these games are it's in a negative way. No. I'm saying it in an absolutely positive way. It's like they are so terrifying. I can't relive that stress again. That stress, it stressed me out so much. And so, when I play games, I like, I loved when Mass Effect came out. I loved first Mass Effect, second Mass Effect.
Mass Effect 2 was unbelievable. Mass Effect 3 broke my heart because of the terrible, horrendous ending.
What? Yeah, and it's just 3 that are out, right?
Well, they did Andromeda, but it was a complete shit show and a complete disaster. They had nothing to do with the main
narrative. There was a 3. Okay, Andromeda was terrible.
Terrible.
The two I think was the best.
2 was the best. Dude, I'm with you on every page. I played that
Yeah.
multiple playthroughs, made sure I saved all my characters so we could continue the journey.
And who's the assassin? I forget what the
Mortanius.
badass
What's
assassin.
the name of the badass assassin? I'm asking. Yeah, he'll know. He's my best friend. He's in the comment section. He's a geek gamer. He'll pop it in the comments in a second. But the alien guy.
Yeah, he had like cat-like eyes. You
Yeah.
know, they have the real. They look so dope. Some of the coolest designed aliens. But his voice had that kind of like in the background of it that was so unique, and I thought that was such a beautiful way of creating a voice for a species. It was amazing. Anyways, yeah. So those types of games. So now it's like with Borderlands, it's cartoony.
His name was Gareth.
Gareth. Yeah.
Thank you, Mortanius. Gareth, it was.
Gareth was dope. I loved Gareth. He was my man.
Yeah.
But yeah. So now I like even though I don't like when stuff is too photorealistic. I'm a terrible battle royale player. I get killed instantly all the time. So I can't do it. But because the kids, they're so fast these days.
Dude, unreal. With their twitch, their goddamn reflexes, man. It's unreal.
Oh my, it's just insane. It's like I spawn, I'm dead. Spawn, I'm dead. Spawn, I'm dead. Spawn, I'm dead. Spawn, oh, a little bit. Oh, I shot one. I'm dead. You know, like, and I'm like, how can I have any fun here? So the great thing about the Division 2 is that I like it because there is a lot of cooperative playing. Like almost all of it is cooperative except for rogue agents in the dark zone. You can start attacking each other. But I like cooperation. I like solving problems cooperatively with people. That's what I look for in a game. So too much just constant shooty is boring. Depending. I mean, I could definitely blow through like Gears of War 5 was really fun to kind of blow through. But I don't know. Anyways, my point is I like some cooperative, and it has to be a world that's interesting and I want to be invested in it.
I agree.
That's why Red Dead a little bit too big. I lost my interest.
Same here.
But 20% through the game, I was like, okay, I'm gonna take a break here for a long while.
Yeah, I like a more. I know some people like really expansive games, but I'm like, there's a balance. I want a tight narrative that I have freedom within, but I don't want it to be like ridiculous and like too many side quests. Like I want because it makes me laugh when there's an urgency, like you must rescue someone, but you can do 50 side quests. Like they're gonna die, but you can then go get chickens for some woman or whatever to get experience points. And I'm like, that's not.
I know, totally. You really have to do this. It's like, okay, but I'm gonna do it in like 2 months game time. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that's cool. No, it can wait. It can wait. Those missiles will wait.
I got seeds I got to collect. In Zelda, I played Zelda Breath of the Wild, and I was trying to get all the seeds. Then I found out there were 999. I stopped it. But it was the same thing. It's like so the princess Zelda is the princess, and she's been at war for 100 years while you've been asleep, and now you're awake, and you can unlock her from this 100-year nonstop barrage. But I'm like running around collecting seeds and shit. So I understand it. It's fun, but it doesn't. I'm not urgent anymore. You know what I'm saying?
I'm totally with you. I mean, it's kind of like, I will say, like with Borderlands, you can definitely go quest nuts, side quest nuts. But in a way, its urgency, just like the way they design it, or at least Borderlands 2, which I think is an excellent game. It's like, you got to get to places, but also it's kind of like it's Borderlands. It's like it kind of like doesn't follow any rules anyways. True. So
it works there.
It works there. And the same thing with I think with the Division, they do a good job of pacing it up. Like I think obviously you can level up and like gain a bunch of experience and like collect resources and craft and all that stuff. I'm not a big craft person, but I will if I'm forced. But it's a technical. I guess what I like about it is the strategy and how you approach a problem, especially with other players. Are you doing it collectively? Are you concentrating fire together? Are you moving collectively together? Is someone just going crazy, and you're just like, well, I guess every person for themselves, just try to kill as many people as possible. Like, there's so many different ways of playing, but it's all cooperative, and so it's like psychologically, it's interesting to move through a game after you've completed the narrative, and then the world opens up, and then they start adding new campaigns.
Yeah.
It's kind of, they're doing it. I like it. I'm into it, and it feels like it feels smart, like really smart.
I'm with you on that, man. This is so cool. I never thought we would. Yesterday, I saw you retweeting Alana Pierce in the Cyberpunk 2070. I'm like, he's into Cyberpunk 2070. I didn't know this about you, so I was like, holy shit, the podcast is gonna be a lot of fun, right? Like, I geeked out a bit, even more about you. I'm already a fan, and then I was like, oh, come on. What else does this guy have that likability here? This is crazy.
Sick.
I haven't asked you about this, and I hope I'm not keeping you from anything. Let me know if you need to go. But
no, I'm hanging out.
I gotta ask you this: how are you? How are you holding up with all the craziness going on right now?
It's super easy. No.
I'm yeah. No, I'm not going to say it. I'm just going to let you talk. I agree with you, but go ahead.
No. It's like, I mean, there's like so many levels, that I oscillate, just like all of us do. But like, I have the zoomed out thing, which is like usually my specialty. I'm good at zooming out, so I can kind of chill out a little bit and just go, you know what? Humanity, I've always known that we're all just improvising. Yeah. Like, all of humanity is improvising. And definitely, if I think about my childhood, up to this moment, like, I'll even say, like, before Trump got elected, it's pretty within the parameters of normal, I guess. Like the things that we worried about in the past were so small compared to what we worry about
now
every 5 minutes. Yeah, now. And repeatedly, and from multiple angles, constantly. I feel very grateful that I've gotten to live this idea of, oh yeah, you want to go to a movie? Oh, it's cool, it's great. I know this great restaurant just opened up, and they got this awesome mean milkshake, or whatever. Let's meet up at this thing, and do stuff. And then now we're like, this virus. Like, everything's limited. All the movement is limited. It puts your mind frame in this weird zone. And then you have, I'm just naming all the stuff we all know, but just it's the sandwich. It's like, then you have like the Trump administration and the neoconservatism or neoconservative, whatever the fuck it is. There's all of that, and the inaction, and just the terrible messaging, and the divisiveness, and then politicizing mask wearing, and then on top of that, the injustice to Black and brown bodies, to anybody who has dared to speak up or speak out or just be wrongly accused. And then, and then a police force, that's just like, well, we ain't no better. We was trained a certain way, and that's what they told us. I mean, and I'm sorry I'm not using a country voice to denote a level of intelligence. No. I just kind of go there because it's like, it just means of the earth.
Yeah.
I'm from Montana. I feel like I can go there a little bit, but but I'm just saying, the layers of all the various realities that were all kind of like, had their own lane, everyone had their own lane for a while. And we made more lanes for more people, but they were still like slower lanes. And now someone basically just forgot to finish the bridge.
That's what it feels like.
Yeah, and everybody's just falling off of this theoretical, like, just abyss of complete gray uncertainty.
Yeah, it feels that way.
And and I'm like, on one hand, like, holy fuck, but on another, and dread and stuff in there, but on the other hand, I'm like, well, human evolution, man. It's like the virus, all of these things happening simultaneously. It's almost too suspicious Not in a. No, I'm
No,
not saying in a conspiracy
not
way.
in a conspiracy. It
Just saying-
feels like we're in some weird in a comic book, like we're in the what if realm or like the alternate realm. It doesn't feel. It's bizarre.
Yeah, yeah. Like all of us went into crazy parallel
Yeah,
realities.
we're in the parallel reality where Batman is the villain. Is basically what it feels like right now. Like,
Yeah, completely. You're like, what next? It's like, is it an asteroid? Is the asteroid next? Is the asteroid next, or is like fish raining down from the sky? Do we hear a horn in the distance? Is there like or do children start disappearing? Do like are there more sightings of unidentified flying objects? Do like
crazy
whatever? Someone's levitating. Like I don't know. Like it seems like all of the threads of reality, including possibly the laws of physics, probably not.
Yeah.
But it feels like if that did happen, I'd be like, okay,
that makes sense.
sure.
It fits.
That it fits. It's I'm not gonna fight it. It seems
This
like
is crazy, man.
that's what's happening. So it's a long-winded answer, short to answer the question. It's like, I feel different every day, every moment. I try to manage my anxiety, and it's like it's like handling every problem that we all have simultaneously is just. It's incredible. It's incredible that, that's why you're seeing the behavior of certain people that are very, very fearful, and they don't understand how to express or see things from a lens of love, that it's just too scary for them.
Yeah.
So you get like the people on the lawn, the woman with the holding the gun, and
the guy with the machine gun and his wife with him with the gun that came over the weekend. What the fuck, dude? What the fuck?
Just standing out there like, I mean, and you look at their faces. When you see their faces, it's like that's just pure fear.
Yes.
It's just fear. Like it's straight fear. And I wish there was a way that you could just reach inside them and just go, we're all, not to use that phrase, but we're all doing this collectively. Like we're not here to attack you. We're not here to steal all of the money you put into this house. It's like, if anything, I bet you 60% of the protesters on a different day would just be like, oh, wow, the restoration is incredible. Look at the dome. And this is a replica from a Tiffany lamp. That's insane. My grandmother, guaranteed.
Yeah.
It's fear's coming out in different ways. For other people, it's anger and action. For other people, it's protectionism, tribalism. Get all the guns together. Get ready to, for the worst. The end of the world is coming. There's all these different ways of reacting, but ultimately there has to be this revolution of love and this adding human value to the capitalist mind state, like making that a part of the value
of the capitalist society.
Yeah, basically,
you have to.
Like that has to be a value. That's something that's traded. I mean, not to, what I'm saying? It's just
it has to have it has to be a currency.
Yeah.
It has to be. It has to have at least the worth of a currency. Like currency right now is worth something, whereas the human life is expendable for currency. Can't be that way. It shouldn't be that way.
Exactly. 100%. That's exactly what it is. And I think, and the crazy thing about it is it's the easier way to go. It takes way less energy to do things from a benevolent, or at least considering your neighbor perspective, than all the other human dumb ways that we've been doing for
so true.
However many thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years, and it's always existed in some form. But we are at the point at which, if we're aware of it, then we can change it. So we kind of don't. We don't have any. We're kind of running out of excuses to be like, no, it's gotta keep it this way because that's the only way it can work. It's like, no, that's obviously not true.
Yeah.
Obviously.
It was funny. So Lebanon right now, obviously where I come from, is in the middle of a complete, total economic collapse, revolution. peaceful. And it's a complete disaster over there right now. Complete disaster. People's salaries that were making, if you were making $1,000, you're now making less than almost 100. It's a complete disaster. When the coronavirus broke out, the American embassy arranged to have planes for any American citizens to leave Beirut to come to America. Almost nobody took that plane. Everybody wanted to stay in Lebanon, which is hilarious. They covered it on all the news outlets, and they talked to like not Lebanese Americans. They're like, no, we're going to stay here. It's safer here. They've locked down the airport. The cases are under control. Everything is being taken care of. The people are responsible. People are wearing masks. We don't want to go back to America. It's a fucking shit show. So we'd rather stay here,
Lord.
where right now the country's on the brink of collapse, but it's a much better time. And I'm staying here in America, and I'm watching this, and I can't tell you that feeling that day, how bizarre it was as an American and as a Lebanese person. I was like, this is the most ridiculous timeline in the world, man. In the world. I've never.
Yeah, I know. And it's like, it's such a hard flip too.
It is.
I mean, it's like a crazy hard flip, but at the same time, I don't know. I mean, it's like, autocracy is really trying to gun for it.
Yeah.
Like they're really trying to go for it. The problem is, even though the United States is in the chaotic state that it is, I have hope.
I definitely have hope. I have
a lot. I have a lot of hope, because there's, I think people are starting to see, like the conservatives are starting to see, like for instance, I wouldn't classify myself as a liberal or a conservative. I would just call myself a humanist. Like when it comes to humanity, like I want people to just respect each other.
I agree.
Respect each other and realize that their actions are accountable for the whole health of the nation. And to function in that way, and everything to function that way, the police force, whatever, and not in a kumbaya, whatever they use that expression all the time.
Of course, not hippie, of course not
a hippie way. That's not what it's about. It's about love, but it's also about practicality and pragmatism, so that you can erase a lot of these hard binary divisions. They're so inefficient and unnecessary. Like if my liberal friends would be like self-ascribed, like would say something really intense, like, yeah, but the police don't really blah blah blah, and I'm like, no, you have to understand that nothing is binary, that the people are always very complicated. Someone who's being an asshole one day could learn to be a very loving, caring individual, a good person. So you have to leave a little bit you got to leave the door open a bit.
Some wiggle room.
You got to leave wiggle room. You got to live. I call it my 10% rule. I'm like, there's a 10% chance I'm wrong. If I'm feeling certain about something, like I'll still leave 10%, because I need it. Because if I've been proven wrong, and that's great, because being proven wrong means that you're understanding something more clearly, and that's awesome. So, anyways, but I mean, I guess my point is, I am hopeful that pragmatism and rationalism can win, and still allow people to believe whatever the fuck they want to believe.
I couldn't agree more. Look, I come from the Middle East, where we went down the rabbit hole. In Lebanon, we did the civil war. We did we're going to murder everybody. We did that for 30 years. And when you dive down that, like America is diving down, let's call it, just for like in a generalization, but that might not be the right word, but let's say the evil route or the divisive route, let's put it that way. Once you dive down that, you tend to learn the lessons you needed to learn and you couldn't learn otherwise. You realize that doesn't build a nation. It doesn't build a better future. It isolates people. And once you isolate some people, you isolate everyone. The imbalance affects everyone. And I tell my friends all the time, we're living with the reckoning of our past generations' bad decisions. And we should realize that unless we want our kids to repeat that cycle, it really needs to stop with us. I have a lot of hope that it will, because it's a very aware generation. So I'm hoping, like you are, and I have hope, that it's going to be a much better future for our kids.
I do too. I think that the young people that I meet are
Incredible.
very, very inspiring. And that whole thing about like, millennials being lazy, or like entitled or whatever. It's like, uh, it's just, to me, it's more like, well, sometimes a generation can be lost.
Yeah.
They could be kind of drifting a little bit and they're just uncertain about like, well, what are we supposed to be doing? Right. And I mean, in my generation, I don't know if you might be still a generation below me or above me, 2 generations away, 8 generations away. It doesn't matter. Anyways, the point is my generation, Generation X, um,
I'm at the cusp of no longer being a millennial. I'm at the upper end of the millennial scale.
okay. So you're an elder millennial.
I'm an elder millennial. I'm the old guard of the millennials.
Okay. The old guard, right. The ancient
The ancient millennials, yes.
Yes, I remember them well. They scared me. Yeah, but like, in our generation, it was definitely there was resentment of capitalism. There was if you were on that bent, but there was a lot of energy there. Punk rock music, hard rock music, a lot of decadence at the same time. So like, punk music kind of anti-establishment music, and then you had like Van Halen. So
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
and
Fucking great.
And that, whatever, all of that stuff. So there's like this crazy range. So it was like very opulent, and an underground that or counterculture that was kind of railing against that. And then and then the 90s, it was just kind of like it was dark. It got darker, and movies reflected it. Natural Born Killers and all that kind of stuff. Like it was in the air. It was like a deeper, dark and twisted darkness to it that people were kind of fascinated with. And then and then there's kind of like a bunch of co-opting of pastiche stuff, like for a really long time. And generationally, there wasn't a lot as much to work with until now, where there's this. I mean, there obviously there's always like good forms of counterculture, but counterculture hasn't really hit because it feels like corporations absorb it and put it into the pop mainstream so quickly now.
Yeah.
So like, where is the what is counterculture? Oh, she's so this or he's so that, and then like, but then they're playing in front of 30,000 people, and you're like, well, how is that counterculture? But in a time like this, suddenly, boom, everything's like broken. All of society is broken, the way that it functions, and then you have this trigger point, this flash point, and then you just have like this special circumstance, and then everybody comes out, and you're like, oh, there it is.
Yeah.
There it is, and it just makes me so incredibly like hopeful.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Millennials, and then Generation Z, the new ones.
Oh man, those guys,
they're the best.
They're the super best.
They're the best.
Yeah, they are the best. I have a few Zers in there, or whatever, Centennials, I guess.
I think Zers are Centennials. Look at us now. Yeah. Look at me and you. Look at us, these old men. Do they call them the Centennials? Is that what they say?
It was 11 years ago. I remember.
All we need to do is just hack cough a bit in between our like those Centennials.
Excuse me. I'm all right. Continue. Like, oh my gosh. It's true.
Reggie.
Anyways, hope for the future. Group.
Before I let you go, we ask a series. This has been one of my favorite. I'm going to be diplomatic and say one of my favorite, not my favorite interviews so far on the podcast. I want to ask you a few rapid fire questions that we ask all of our guests. So just let me know whatever comes to your mind. This is a very difficult one, I know, but if you had to choose a favorite song, would you be able to? What would it be? Or maybe favorite is the wrong word. If you had to choose one song that probably best represents you.
I think Ain't Nobody.
Ain't nobody. Love me better. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's like
That's a song.
It gives you everything you need. Like, it's got all the shit that you need. It's not too fast. It's got a great deep pocket. It's enough to like kind of act out scenes if you want to on the dance floor. If you want to like act with your friends, act dance, or if you just want to dance hardcore, you can do double time. It's got everything. It's cool. It's Shaka. It's like undeniable talent.
What a great answer. Okay, favorite book.
The Tao Te Ching.
Okay, the Tao Te Ching. I haven't read that book.
It's excellent.
Okay,
it was written by someone in 4500 BC.
Okay,
but
Tao Te Ching.
It's been translated, like adapted by this. I forget who did it, but the Tao Te Ching. Yeah.
Okay, I will be ordering that on Amazon soon.
You could. It's not like you don't speed through it. You just take little bite-sized chunks.
Okay,
that's what I like. That's my kind of book.
That's your jam. All right. If you many years from now, when all is said and done, what would you like your legacy to be?
I guess I just hope that I encourage, the weirdo kids growing up and kind of being bullied or like just not feeling like they fit in for whatever reason. I want to encourage them to just stick with it, keep being the weirdo, keep being the strange one, and celebrate that, be happy about that, and fight for it. It's totally worth it. And that I think that's kind of like, if my work can trigger that, like for years and years to come, then I think I did a good job.
What a beautiful answer. That's fantastic, man. Reggie, thanks so much for taking your time to spend with us here on the Very Funny podcast. I really appreciate it, man. This was so much fun. Thank you so much.
Man, I'm so glad to see your face. It's
Same
so good
here.
To see you.
Can't wait till this is over and then I'll see you in person. But in the meantime, it was great to see you too.
Absolutely, 100%.
You take care.
Rock on.
Stay safe, brother. Rock on. Bye-bye.
Yalla.
Yalla. Yes, sir. I love you, man. I love you so much, dude. Take care. Reggie Watts, ladies and gentlemen, the myth, the legend himself. And I think you guys saw, I did bang my guitar in the middle of the interview. I think you all heard it. And I've been trying to maneuver my chair tactfully ever since, but I was failing epically. There we go. How dope was that interview? I mean, let me tell you guys, that was just the best. And look at that. We got 33 people with us on Twitch. Thank you, everybody, for Twitch is growing, man, as a platform, and I couldn't be happier. I did not think in a million years that I would be in a situation where I'm having a conversation with Reggie Watts about video games and just everything that we were talking about, man. I want to read your comments right now, so I'm just making this full screen so I can see what you guys are writing. It was dope. Khalil El-Kurdi, Jason, Steve, nice, my man, joining us from Australia, from Sydney, Caroline Bijeni. I missed this episode. I had a birthday party. No worries, Carolyn. It's about to be over. And as soon as I turn this episode off, you can watch it. Go to youtube.com/Nemr Comedy or facebook.com/Nemr Comedy or twitch.tv/Nemr Comedy. The episodes are there. But youtube.com/Nemr Comedy is the most organized, easy way. It's right there on the front page. The episode will be available. You don't want to miss it. So be sure to watch that. Let's see what you guys are writing right here. Jay Wood, what's going up? Jay Wood is going to be our guest next Tuesday on the podcast, my man. Why so early, Jay? Because I'm in Los Angeles, baby. We got to do something for the other people, You keep that attitude, Jay, and I'm going to put you on this episode. I'm just kidding. Jay's my best friend from childhood. One of the greatest musicians that ever lived. Can't wait to have him. That's on Tuesday. Emil Salban, good morning from Kuwait. Hello, my friend. Good morning to you. Nicholas Badr, is Bill Burr going to make it to the podcast? One day. I don't know him personally. All of the guests up until this point, I know them or I know somebody who knows them very well. When you're doing a podcast, you want to have a level of familiarity with the guest and comfort so that they really open up. It's not easy for you to have a conversation with someone who you're a total stranger to make them feel comfortable. So, I'm not really, I haven't met Bill Burr yet in person. He's arguably one of my favorite comedians. So definitely he will be one day. And it'll happen somehow, some way. I love Reggie, Ryan Hamdan. Mortanius as well. Reggie is still on for me. Please respect the delay. Cherokee Bill, that is too funny. Ragnaros, amazing. I think you guys are fantastic, for real. Made it and loved every bit. Rachel, so glad, joining us from Dubai. Jay Wood, we got Rachel who joined us in Dubai when the episode started at, I think it was, we started 7 p.m., which is 5 a.m. in Beirut. 6 a.m., dude. She was up. You know, that's what I'm talking about, Jay. Vodka versus whiskey. That was amazing. Thank you. I'm glad you thought that. Wouldn't it be amazing if you ever got Dana Carvey on? That's how I know Habs Executor is a fan. I had a conversation with my agent about that yesterday. I told him I don't care about getting Dana Carvey on the podcast. I want to sit down and say hello to the guy who literally was responsible for me falling in love with stand-up comedy, and I memorized his bits. And stand-up comedy in the Middle East, I started that. I built that. It wouldn't exist if it wasn't for Dana Carvey influencing a 4 or 5-year-old kid in San Diego back in the 80s, man. It's crazy. It's crazy. Dana Carvey, that's why I don't think I would have him on the podcast. I think I would want to sit down and have a meal with him and just experience his energy and then maybe bring him on the podcast. But I mean, for me, it's a deeply personal thing. So yeah. Surmanada, how's it going? Welcome, everybody. Reggie is such a genius. He's not only a great comic, but a super talented musician. Cheers from Atlanta. Nicholas, I couldn't agree more. 100%. Habs Executor, I would kill to be a fly on that wall. My man. Dana is brilliant. Surmanada, you're pronouncing my name wrong. Surmanada. How do you pronounce Surmanara? It's Surmanara. In Lebanon, we have a place called the Manara. That's how you pronounce it. Surmanada. Am I supposed to be like Surmanara? Oh my God. The R is silent? If the R is silent, why do you have it in your name? Just write Sumanara. So is it Sumanara? Is that how I'm supposed to? Sumanara. Sayonara. Surmanada. Hello, Sumanara. I learned now. You can't blame me for not knowing earlier. You know what I'm saying? If you guys missed the music stream that we did earlier today, it's up on Twitch only. Go and check it out because we made some incredible music together. And if you guys don't want to miss future broadcasts, future streams, whether we're doing music production or anything else, right there, hit up our Discord group or hit up our WhatsApp to talk to me. That's my WhatsApp. The Discord is the community. And I want to give a shout out to the beautiful community on Discord that is just building this platform and making it so much more than just being about me. You guys are amazing. I'm going to play a little tune before I sign out with you guys. I love this. I play it often. I find this is a fitting way to give you guys the final message because the guest that we had, Reggie Watts, is such a beautiful human being and such a beautiful soul. And it's been a privilege to spend time with him in Beirut and the Saudi Arabia when he came out. And this podcast was a privilege, that's for sure, man. And this song, I think I'm playing it again, even though I played it in the introduction, because I think playing something like... doesn't fit the mood of the depth of that conversation. I mean, I talk video games and life with a beautiful soul. So let's do this. Because the message, and for those who are joining us for the first time, you guys got to know the message is that I want you to take care and always wear underwear. The show, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll be streaming again tomorrow. If you don't know the schedule, once again, join the Discord or jump on my Twitch channel. There's a schedule underneath the video when you get there. The video icon place. And tomorrow at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, for a lot of you, it'll be tonight, I will be playing Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order on Twitch. I'll see you guys later. Add me on WhatsApp. Talk to me directly. Hit us up in the Discord group. Thank you guys so much for joining us. I want you to take care and always wear underwear, as always. And you guys are the best. Goodbye, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow or today, depending on your time zone. I love you. Bye-bye. All right, goodbye, bye. Oh, look, I thought it was, I wanted to do a thing where I said goodbye like that, and then it would be funny, and I'd press end broadcast. So I clicked finish, but then I had to click end broadcast. Now this is just awkward. Now we're just like looking at each other like Metallica. Because they were really good with their music, and then they sucked, and it got kind of awkward. Okay, that's it. Now I'm just being an idiot right now. Good night,